All right, so listen to this one, you guys. You sent us The Walls of Eryx by H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, wow.
And for anyone out there who maybe hasn't heard of him, Lovecraft is considered like one of the big names when it comes to cosmic horror.
Yeah.
And that's a genre of horror that kind of focuses on the fear and the awe that we feel when we think about like the vastness of the universe and, you know, all the stuff out there we just can't even fathom.
Right, right.
And in this particular story, we're following this guy, Kenton Stanfield.
Okay.
He's a prospector on Venus.
Interesting.
Now, this isn't the Venus we learned about back in like high school science class.
Right.
Lovecraft's vision of Venus is like this crazy jungle.
Oh, wow.
It's sweltering.
I see.
It's got all these strange creatures, and like the atmosphere is so heavy that you just feel like it's crushing you.
Yeah.
And Stanfield's there, for one thing.
What's that?
Crystals.
Crystals.
Super valuable crystals. There are all these rumors that they're like these intense energy sources, you know. They could be really powerful.
So kind of a classic sci-fi setup.
Yeah.
You got this, you know,
Yeah.
frontier kind
It's
of
frontier, exactly.
prospector going after something valuable.
Right.
But it sounds like Lovecraft puts his own unique spin on it.
Totally. So Stanfield is out hunting for these crystals,
Right.
and he comes across a huge one.
Okay.
But here's the catch. It's clutched in the hand of a dead prospector.
Oh, no.
So creepy, right?
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
Not a good sign at all. And
Ew.
as you kind of get further into this story, that dead prospector, you know, he kind of becomes like a symbol of human ambition.
Oh, interesting.
You know, like ambition gone wrong.
Yeah.
He's like a warning to Stanfield and to us, really,
Okay.
about, you know, being careful about pushing too far into the unknown.
I see. That's an interesting take on it. So
Yeah.
it's not just about the immediate danger.
Right.
It's about the bigger picture of human ambition.
Yeah, and that's where Lovecraft's real skill as a writer shines through.
How so?
He doesn't just tell us like a spooky story, right?
Yeah.
He actually makes you feel how small and insignificant humans are.
Oh, wow.
When you think about the vastness of the cosmos, you
It's
know,
a big concept.
it is. And he reminds us that there are these forces out there that we can't even understand.
Okay.
And they could just crush us like it's nothing, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely getting into that cosmic horror territory.
Yeah, and this is where things get really crazy in the story.
Oh, really?
Stanfield ends up trapped in this invisible maze.
An invisible maze.
I'm talking like walking through walls invisible.
Wow.
He can actually feel the structure,
Okay.
but he can't see it.
So he's just running into walls constantly.
Pretty much, yeah, just bumping into stuff. Like what?
That's got to be terrifying.
Totally. And Lovecraft writes about Stanfield's panic in such a vivid way.
Yeah.
You can almost feel like your own sanity slipping away with his, you know.
Oh, I bet that's one of those things that just gets under your skin.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, when you think about it too much.
Absolutely. And I think the maze itself is such a strong symbol.
Of what?
Well, on one level, I think it represents like the limits of what we can perceive as humans, you know?
Oh,
We think we can just, you know, figure everything out.
Right, map it out.
Map it out, conquer everything.
Yeah, conquer.
But what happens when we run into something that's just beyond our senses?
Something we can't even see.
Something we can't even see exactly.
It makes you question, like, everything you thought you knew about reality.
Right. It just throws everything out the window.
That's a really good point.
And let's not forget about those man lizards.
Oh, yeah. What about them?
They're like watching Stanfield, you know? Almost like they're toying with him as he stumbles around in the maze.
Okay, so they're definitely intelligent.
Right.
Maybe even a little bit cruel.
Yeah, maybe even a little sadistic. I mean, you don't want to jump to conclusions, but
Right.
it's definitely suspicious.
It is, and that's what makes them so intriguing.
Right.
Lovecraft doesn't really give us all the answers about them.
So we're left to wonder.
What are they thinking? What's their real purpose?
Exactly. What's their deal?
Yeah, there's so much to unpack there.
There is. So we've got this invisible maze.
Yeah.
A dead prospector clutching a crystal.
Yeah.
And these enigmatic man lizards. Just watching it all.
It's a recipe for a seriously creepy story.
Oh, yeah. It's unsettling, for sure.
Yeah.
But the weirdness doesn't stop there.
It doesn't.
The story takes another turn when a search party shows up.
Okay.
They're led by this guy, Wesley P. Miller.
Okay.
He's like the superintendent of the Crystal Company.
Ah, so he's the boss man.
Yeah, the big boss man.
Right.
So he finds Stanfield's body along with this record scroll that Stanfield was keeping.
A record scroll.
Yeah, like a journal of his experiences.
Okay, so this is how we know what happened to Stanfield.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
And get this.
What?
Stanfield was only a few steps away from the exit the whole time.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
So he was right there.
Right there the whole time. Just a few steps.
Oh, man, what a way to go.
I know, right? Talking about tragic irony.
Ah.
That's rough.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Miller's plan.
What's his plan?
He wants to wipe out the native population.
Who wants?
Get more crystals.
Oh, no.
I know, right?
So he's not learning from Stanfield's mistakes at all.
Not at all.
Wow.
Not even a little bit.
That's a pretty bleak outlook.
Yeah, it's not exactly the most enlightened response, is it?
Not really. It kind of makes you wonder,
Yeah.
about the whole enterprise. Are we doomed to repeat these kinds of mistakes?
Duck.
When we go out into the
Or
stars?
are we just going to keep exploiting everything we find?
Are we going to learn to coexist with alien life forms?
Right.
Or are we going to just keep doing what we've always done?
It's a big question,
It is. And I think Lovecraft is forcing us to confront that question head on,
Totally.
by showing us the potential consequences of our actions
Right.
through Stanfield's tragic story.
And it makes you think about, the ethics of space exploration.
Exactly. Are we justified in exploiting other worlds?
Yeah. Even if it means coming into conflict with the beings who live there.
Tough questions.
Tough questions indeed. And I think Stanfield's final plea, the one where he begs them to leave the crystals alone.
Right.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most valuable things are the things that we leave untouched.
That's a good point.
Sometimes the best way to interact with something is to simply leave it be.
That's true.
To respect its boundaries and its existence.
So we've got this story with, these layers of meaning.
Yeah.
It's making us think about ambition,
Right.
the ethics of exploration,
Yeah.
the limits of our perception.
And the dangers of the unknown.
Exactly. And to top it all off,
Yeah.
we get this really unsettling question about the man lizards.
Right.
What's their role in all of this?
Are they guardians? Are they something more sinister?
We're left to ponder that.
And that's part of what makes Lovecraft so effective.
Yeah.
He doesn't give us all the answers.
He leaves us with these lingering questions.
That stick with us long after we finish the story.
Totally. And that's what makes In the Walls of Eryx so much more than just a horror story.
Yeah, it's a story that makes us think about
Yeah.
our place in the universe.
And the choices we make.
Exactly. It's a story that challenges us.
Absolutely. And speaking of challenges, let's take a closer look at Miller's report.
Okay.
We've talked about his perspective.
Yeah.
But what does he actually observe about the maze?
Yeah. What details does he give us?
Does he shed any light on its origins or its purpose?
I'm curious to hear what he has to say.
All right, well, let's dive into that right after this quick break.
Sounds good. So Miller's report, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It really shows you the difference between someone with like a scientific mind
Okay.
and how totally otherworldly that maze is.
Right.
Like he goes at it from this really practical perspective, like an engineer almost,
Oh, okay.
His team, they try to map the maze, measure it.
Okay.
They even try to blow up parts of it with dynamite. Yeah, but the maze, it just doesn't make sense.
So it just keeps coming back.
Yeah, they can't figure out what it's made of.
Oh, wow.
And any damage they do seems to fix itself.
It's like the maze is like, you can't hurt me.
Exactly. Yeah, like you're not going to figure me out with your human tools and logic,
Right. And instead of like being humbled by that,
Yeah.
Miller's team just gets more determined to conquer it.
It makes you think about the real world.
Oh, yeah.
How often do we see something we don't understand?
Right.
And our first instinct is to control it or destroy it.
It's like we haven't really learned from our mistakes,
It's like, yeah, we're still making the same mistakes, but now on another planet.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's get back to Stanfield for a minute, though.
Sure.
We talked about the maze as like this symbol.
Right.
But what about his experience in it? I mean,
Yeah.
he's not just like physically lost, is he?
No, definitely not. There's something deeper going on there.
Right. It's like what's happening in his head?
Well, Lovecraft talks about Stanfield's mental state, and he's not just freaking out about being lost.
Okay.
He's starting to question his own sanity.
Oh, wow.
The maze becomes this reflection of his mind,
So like the walls are the barriers in his mind.
Yeah, like the growing feeling of being alone and confused.
It's like he's losing it.
It is a descent into madness.
And the man lizards are there the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that was
Making it extra creepy, you said before. They might be something more than just guardians.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, they don't seem to be bothered by the maze at all. They move through it so easily.
Okay.
It's almost like they're part of it.
So maybe they control it.
Maybe. And don't forget, they could have killed Stanfield any time.
Right. They had the chance.
They did, but they just watched him.
Like he's a science experiment.
It's unsettling, isn't it?
Very. It's like they're studying him.
Right. And it makes you wonder, Do they even see him as a threat?
Or is he just a toy to them?
Exactly. That's what's so great about Lovecraft.
Yeah.
He gives us just enough to get our imaginations going.
But we don't get all the answers.
Exactly. We have to fill in the blanks ourselves.
With our own fears.
And that's what makes it truly scary.
And speaking of scary, Stanfield's last moments are so sad.
Yeah.
He's lost and desperate,
Yeah.
and he sees a light.
Oh, wow.
We don't know if it was the exit or just something he imagined.
That's a perfect example of cosmic horror.
How so?
Even if it was the exit,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee of relief for him.
He's been through too much.
Exactly. He's been broken by the experience.
Right. It reminds us that we're just tiny specks in this huge universe.
And that our struggles might not matter at all in the grand scheme of things.
And then you have Miller, who shows up with his dynamite.
Yeah, talk about missing the point.
He reads Stanfield's final message, about leaving the crystals alone,
Right.
and he just thinks Stanfield was crazy.
It's like he didn't learn anything.
Nothing. It's kind of a metaphor for how we treat the natural world, isn't it?
I think so. We often put profit ahead of everything else.
Yeah. Stanfield's story is like a warning.
A warning about what?
About repeating those mistakes.
On a cosmic scale.
Exactly. So we've got these two totally different viewpoints.
Stanfield and Miller.
Right. Stanfield, who sees the terrifying beauty of the unknown.
And Miller, who's all about conquering it.
Where do we go from here?
That's the question, isn't it?
What can we learn from these two guys?
As we keep exploring the universe.
What are the takeaways for us? It's like Stanfield's journey is kind of like our own search for knowledge.
Yeah.
We start out wanting to explore,
Yeah.
discover all these mysteries of the universe.
Right. But what happens?
But what happens when those mysteries, fight back?
That's a good question.
What happens when they challenge everything we thought we knew?
That's what Lovecraft was getting at. I think he's saying that some knowledge is just too much for us.
Like it's too dangerous.
Yeah, too unsettling for our little human brains.
And Stanfield going crazy.
Yeah.
It shows us that searching for knowledge can have a big price.
For sure.
And the fact that he was almost there.
Totally.
At the exit the whole time.
It's heartbreaking.
It really is. It's like the maze was messing with him.
Yeah, testing.
Seeing how much he could take.
Pushing him to the edge.
He could have escaped.
He could have.
But the fear and the not knowing just wore him down.
There's a part in the story
Yeah.
where Stanfield talks about the maze.
Okay.
He says it's like a mocking laughter echoing in the silence.
Oh, wow.
That's how it felt to be trapped in there.
Like the universe is laughing at us.
Yeah, like we're all part of some cosmic joke that we don't even get.
And then we have Miller.
Right, the opposite of Stanfield.
He's all about action.
Taking charge,
Conquering everything.
even if it means destroying it.
But the maze breaks him too.
It breaks everyone.
But in a different way.
In a different way.
Stanfield is broken by what he learns.
By realizing how small he is,
Yeah.
Miller's broken because he can't control it.
He can't force the maze to do what he wants.
He's baffled.
And frustrated.
Yeah, he thought he could handle anything.
But the maze just beats him.
It's kind of beautiful, though, isn't it?
What do you mean?
That there are still things out there we can't figure out,
Oh, I see what you mean.
things we can't control.
It makes you feel small.
It does, but in a good way.
Yeah. Like we need to be reminded of that sometimes.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder
About what?
if the smartest thing to do is just leave some things alone.
Maybe Stanfield figured that out in the end.
Yeah. When he said to leave the crystals alone,
He might have been onto something.
he might have known more than Miller ever did.
In the Walls of Eryx, it's not just a horror story, you know?
It's more than that.
It makes you think about what it means to know something.
And how much we can really understand.
And what happens when we push too far.
It sticks with you.
It does.
Makes you ask questions.
So as we finish up our deep dive into this pretty messed up story,
Yeah.
we're going to leave you with this.
Okay, hit us with it.
What does In the Walls of Eryx tell you about how you deal with things you don't understand?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Are you more like Stanfield or Miller?
And what can we learn from both of them?
As we keep exploring this huge, mysterious universe,
You keep thinking about those questions.
you might just find your own answers.
Hidden within the invisible walls.
Maybe.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.